ॐ कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय हरये परमात्मने प्रणतक्लेशनाशाय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। In this class, this morning, November 12 in India, this evening, November 11 in the West, which is perhaps the 246th class, we shall continue with this chapter 12, where Sri Krishna gives us ample food for thought, considering the two most well-known paths of spirituality, Bhakti Marga and Jnana Marga. In Bhakti Marga, whether with form or without form, but certainly with various wonderful gunas, saguna, God is made into a person. Call him father, call him mother, call him a friend, call him a teacher, call him anything else. Some of you know, or all of you know, there is something called Virodha Bhakti also, where you are angry with God. You are opposed to God. And being opposed and being angry, you always think of God. That is also a form of bhakti. It is said Ravana, Kumbhakarna, and the other two avatars of those two, Jaya and Vijaya, gatekeepers of Vaikuntha, they went for Virodha Bhakti, Vaira Bhakti. They looked at themselves as enemies of God, for they were told and they fully believed in it, and it worked out also that in less number of lives on the earth, they can wind up things and go back to their divine positions at the gatekeepers, Jaya and Vijaya in Vaikuntha. So 3 lives on the earth opposed to God. But over there also, please see, they had Lord Vishnu personified, made into a person. As you know, the words personified and personalized are different. Personified, God is made into a person. Whereas personalized, you make your spiritual practice tailor-made for yourself. Personalized. When you write a letter, if you personalize it, that letter will have the name of the one to whom you are writing. That person feels, she has written specially to me. And thus, it is personal, tailor-made to that person, not for everyone else or anybody else. So without going to the distinctions, God made into a person, a cosmic person maybe, an extraordinary person maybe, a person way above any other conceivable individual is involved in Bhakti Marga. In Jnana Marga, especially in the Advaita form, Advaita system, the principle of God is looked at, is appreciated as having no akara and no guna. Therefore, in essential terms, the whole issue is between saguna versus nirguna. Nirguna in Advaita Vedanta is literally nirguna. No attributes, indescribable, period. No discussion anymore. Once I had the opportunity to sit next to a very senior Swamiji of Udupi in the Somaya Vidya Vihar campus, there was some function. And that evening, they had put me, who was just a yellow-clad brahmachari at that time, next to that Swamiji. I do not remember which matha. As you know, Udupi has 8 mathas, but someone who was very senior, maybe Bandar-Kere or one of them, was very knowledgeable, very, very eminent, whereas I was just very, very junior with limited knowledge. So in my talk, I said something about God being nirguna without any attributes. When his turn came, that very senior Swamiji of Madhva tradition smilingly said, Nirguna does not mean without any qualities, without any attributes, without any describable features. He spoke in Hindi, of course. As you know, the Swamijis of old orthodox mutts, they keep away from English. English for them is Mlecha Bhasha, and they are a little uncomfortable with English-speaking Swamis also. Let me not go into that topic. It has interesting, funny, as well as serious dimensions to it. But that Swamiji, very lovingly, smilingly, looking at me with certain compassion, said, he doesn't know. Nirguna means without bad qualities. So apparently, Madhvacharya, who was also an unbelievably great scholar of the Vedas, as was Ramanujacharya too, we hold all these 3 acharyas way above in our esteem, we esteem or we regard them. And we are not qualified to have the final word on who was right. That's a topic which I have touched upon on occasions. But interesting, please see how the word nirguna comes in Upanishads, comes in Gita too, perhaps at several places. In 13th chapter, nirgunam guna bhoktracha, there is an expression. That supreme reality is called nirgunam. And the Madhva Sampradaya or the Madhva Parampara maintains that nirguna here means free of durguna. He is full of loving, good, noble, compassionate qualities, not even an iota of some undesirable, cruel dimension exists in God. But we are studying mainly going by Advaita Sampradaya or Advaita Parampara, and here Nirguna is where the rigorous Vedantic Jnana Marga is headed towards. And Saguna is where Bhakti Marga is directed towards. As I said already, that Saguna could be Sakara or Nirakara. Sikhism, Christianity, and so on, they don't have any form attached to God. But God certainly is all powerful, most merciful. He rules, He responds to your prayers. Even responding to your prayer, even giving you a certain assurance, giving you certain self-confidence, certain rejuvenation is a guna with God. Therefore, Saguna versus Nirguna. And Saguna may have Akara or may not have Akara. Well, we were looking at Arjuna's Prashna, that is, question to begin with, and we saw Shankara's commentaries also on that. And then we will now enter the second shloka of this 12th chapter, which is called Bhakti Yoga. So, Ke Yoga Vittamaha was the question by Arjuna. So, connecting us to the second shloka, Adi Shankaracharya, whom we call Bhagavan Bhashyakara. The word Bhashyakara means one who wrote the Bhashya or commentary. I guess if you are into some Vishishtadvaita circle, Bhashyakara would mean Ramanujacharya or some other most eminent teachers there. In Madhva Sampradaya, the word Bhashyakara would mean Sriman Madhvacharya, for he wrote Bhashya on Bhagavad Gita. Ramanujacharya wrote on Bhagavad Gita and also on Brahma Sutras. As regards Upanishads, he did not write separate Bhashyas on various Upanishads, but a couple of his works, especially Vedartha Sara, he is supposed to cover the important mantras of many prominent Upanishads. Therefore, he too wrote explanations on Upanishad mantras. Therefore, all the three major acharyas, there are many others too in the larger context, Vallabhacharya, Nimbarka, and so on. But Advaita, Vishishtadvaita, and Dvaita has three Bhashyakaras. Advaita has Shankaracharya, Vishishtadvaita has Ramanujacharya, and Dvaita has Madhvacharya. But here when we say Bhagavan Bhashyakara, the reference is to Sri Shankaracharya. Shankaracharya helps us connect to the second shloka with a couple of words. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha is how it begins. What does Bhagavan Krishna say now? Ye aksharopasakaha samyak darshinaha nivritta trishnaha te tavat tishtantu. There are a smaller number typically, who reflect on, contemplate on, study about, and then think about Akshara, the imperishable. Mundaka Upanishad especially uses this word Akshara. The Rishi Angirasa says all forms of knowledge are classified into two, Paravidya and Aparavidya. And the definition he gives for Paravidya is Paravidya, the higher wisdom is that by which Akshara is known. Yaya tad aksharam adigamyate. And over there, he actually points out the nature of Akshara. Yattadadreshyamagrahyamagotramavarnamachakshushrotram tadapanipadam nityam vibhu sarvagatam susukshmam. A very, very profound mantra and all negation. That which cannot be held, that which cannot be seen, that which cannot be smelled, that which cannot be described, all negation. Neti, neti, neti. In modern times, J. Krishnamurti, sometimes it seems he did some work which was so heavy in negation. He not only negated descriptions of God, but he negated so many social systems. He made mockery of schools. He raised questions about institution of marriage. He practically he did not spare anything. You may wonder how could he make mockery of school? He pointed out, he spoke blunt truths that a school with a certain structure, with certain system, with certain rules, with certain hierarchy, and a school that rewards, praises the boy or girl who runs faster or who gets more marks in mathematics and ignores or neglects those who don't do well. What kind of education is that school giving? Is the school looking at all students with proper attention? The boy who could not run fast, the girl who could not score well in mathematics, might be a gem of a person with her own potential, his own possibilities. But the school system around the world Though they claim to be holistic, they claim to be child-centric. Claims are made. All kinds of claims are made. But the ground reality is so many ways there is discrimination. The child of member of parliament will be openly or in a secret way given more attention, and the child of some unknown person of the society is not given much attention. That's the truth. And what about marriage? He negated. But he did it all with certain dignity, with certain accuracy. Uh, why did he make mockery of marriage? He said, through marriage is love guaranteed, is love promised. What is love? And love between a man and a woman, is it assured in the so-called institution of marriage? And can there be love unless the last traces of selfishness, self-centeredness, self-seeking vanish in the husband and in the wife? He asked such questions. To me, that kind of negation of so many human activities. He did not spare politics. He made incisive comments on politicians. He made very, very hard statements on so-called social workers. And he asked, is social service another escape that the human mind has invented? Therefore, without going further on J. Krishnamurti, incidentally, Acharya Rajneesh, who later was called Osho, he also pretty much did a lot of such things. He made a, he made fun of how human beings very cleverly but selfishly create institutions, put banners and fly flags, and loudly claim that their work, their contribution to society, their way to liberation, whatever, they are the highest and so on. But scratch the surface, oops, whether it is religions or social institutions, marriage, education, everywhere. Rajneesh also had a wonderful magnifying glass. He saw human mind, human endeavors with special attention, and made statements that shook everybody who read him. And the difference is Osho is perceived to be more uh, liberal. Osho, the general perception is he gave some kind of license to people to try out varieties of things everywhere. And once he himself, some friend of mine sent a video to me. Osho once said, marriage should be only for 5 years. And after that, the husband and wife should go their own ways. Somebody asked, what happens to children? And Osho replied, don't worry, the children will be looked after by the community. But the husband and wife should go in different directions and explore truth independently. So at some such places, Osho was, not received very well. Both Osho and J. Krishnamurti were not received well by orthodoxy. One little difference is the orthodoxy, to a large extent, could not understand what Krishnamurti was talking. Whereas in the case of Osho, they sort of, not really, they sort of understood what Osho was saying, but had objections to his views. Now, coming back, let's not worry about them. Neti neti, negation. Yattad adreshyam, agrahyam, agotram, avarnam. Means no, 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 no. That which has no form, no size, no color, and so on. That is Akshara. Angirasa gives that mantra in the Mundaka Upanishad. Samyak darshanaha. So, A small number are able to, or by nature they are designed like that. They are pura sanskaras. They are something that they have brought forward from previous life, is such that they get drawn to akshara and they become samyak darshina. They would like to see the ultimate truth with no frills. See the truth as it is. Samyak means very well. Samyak also means as it is. If you see something as it is, then that is samyak darshana. And in order to do that, they need to have a high degree of vairagya. Shankaracharya uses one more of his favorite words, nivritta eshanaha. I called it his favorite word, but it is actually from the Upanishads. The word eshana and the giving up of eshana comes in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad in certain very prominent place. Nivritta eshana. Eshana is longing to have one's own family, one's own children, longing to have one's own house. That's how human life runs. People have dreams. There are songs, there are poetry, there are so much stories. How somebody wants at least a 30 feet by 40 feet piece of land before I die. I want to own a piece of land. Somebody else wants a little house on the hill with nice garden around. Just 2 rooms are enough. Someone wants a house, that is house or land, all that is vitta eshana, some form of wealth. And some want progeny, putra eshana, lokeshana. They want in the world, they want to be well known, name, fame. They want to be somebody. They want to be something. It is said when Abraham Lincoln's mother was dying, she called the young boy. Lincoln was a boy, and she whispered in his ears, "My son, become something." And it is narrated in the so-called motivational literature. Lincoln's mother said to him before dying, "Become something." And you know what he became? He became the President of the United States. What have you become? The speaker asked the audience. Audience get embarrassed, bewildered. Oh, I am already 58, but I haven't become anything. Maybe my sunny days are yet to come. They become more conscious of their image. How sad. This motivational literature is like that. It kind of gives you energy, but it makes you more and more judgmental about yourself. It makes you look down at yourself at times, and at other times it makes you entertain hopes of rising, becoming great, becoming good. The expressions used in motivational literature or motivational workshops are like, awaken the giant within you. Such expressions are used. All that comes in Ashana. Whether you are a brahmachari or grahastha, vanaprastha or sannyasa, as you rise higher and higher, you see the falsity of seeking pleasure, fame, name, position, and so on. You see that they are all self-defeating. You get them, you are happy for a while, and later on, as unhappy, if not worse, as before. Therefore, you become nivritta eshana. In Bhakti Marga also Vairagya is important. However, Shankaracharya seems to imply that in Jnana Marga, an increased amount of this letting go of the worldly aspirations is required. So, is he going to talk about this Jnana Margis now, Akshara Upasakas? Shankaracharya says, no, these Akshara Upasakas, let them wait a little. Te tavat tishtantu. Te tavat tishtantu means let them wait a little. Tishtantu. Let them remain. Hold on. We'll come to you. But then, when will you talk about them? The next sentence says, Tan prati yad vaktavyam, whatever needs to be said about them, tan prati, about them. Tat uparishtat vakshyama. We will tell, we'll talk, we'll speak. Uparishtat. Uparishtat means later on. Later on, not right now. Right now, we are going to talk about the Saguna Bhaktas. Saguna Upasaka and Aksharopasaka, I personally prefer to call them Nirguna Upasaka. So if you want just two words to distinguish the two categories, one is Saguna Upasaka and the second is Nirguna Upasaka. So Adhuna or now Saguna Upasaka Varnyante. They will be described. About them we shall say something. That is how in the second shloka Sri Krishna opens his immortal discourse with a bang. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Veshyamano Yema Nityayukta Upasate Shraddhaya Parayopetaha Te Me Yuktatama Mataha. With certain motherly love, Sri Krishna goes out of his way to regard the Saguna Upasakas as better positioned, better united, better off, as sometimes we use the expression these days. Who is better off? A father asks his wife, the mother. Okay, one of our sons is abroad in California, works for that famous Intel corporation, and another son is here only with us in this small town in Telangana. Oh dear, what do you think? Who is better off? The mother is in a dilemma. She loves both the sons and she thinks, in some ways, our son who is abroad. Wow. Being abroad itself means a lot in this country which was ruled by foreigners for so many years, so many centuries. Being abroad is something. But the same mother is fully aware. The son who is right here with us in our own town, looking after properties, looking after some land we have, and with a little job also in the town, but more important than anything else, is with us 365 days, looks after us. If we fall sick, he rushes to the doctor with us, takes us, attends to us. So, in a way, I think we must value this son more. In some other way, that son more. Mind oscillates. Don't think I'm going to give a judgment here. It is difficult. Finally, it is the, in spirituality, finally it all comes to selflessness. Whoever is selfless, whoever is truly good natured, that person is better off for himself and for others also. In spirituality, the golden word is to be selfless. Whether settled in Texas or California, in Singapore or Muscat, who knows? The son over there is so selfless, he is so loving, and on so many occasions he expresses that too. And somebody right here with us, God forbid, but sometimes that person could be having some negativity too. So this being abroad or being back in India itself is not the issue at all. I would extend it even to, in ashrams also, some swamis leave the main ashram where they were for many years and they go out. So first there is a lot of hue and cry. This swami or that lady, swamini or brahmacharini, see, She studied ABC of spirituality here, and we gave her all the support, and she now, how dare she go out and make her own some institution? But later on, everybody realizes this being within the ashram where you were primarily trained or going out is not a big issue. There are many who are within the organization, they never leave. But if I may say, you know, many people wish they had left. They are a trouble. And then there are many who have left. Though they have left, they have all love and regard for the institution where they got their detailed basic training. It's like that. Some NRIs love India much more than those who are in the country. And but other way also it could be. So who is selfless? Who thinks of others? Who is ready to serve? That is important. So Sri Krishna says, that's where I said with a certain motherly love, like a mother has more love for the younger child. You know, sometimes among the children, though broadly speaking, a mother is equal to all. Towards a couple of children, towards one child, the mother has extra care. She can't help it. Long back, a lady in Palo Alto said to me, she confessed before. By the time she met me, her daughters had already grown up to 25 or 28, something like that. So, but she said, reminiscing, Swamiji, when I was yet to get children, one astrologer told me, you will have two daughters and you will be somewhat partial to the younger one. And I didn't like that astrologer. I was so angry within, though I kept quiet outside. I said to myself, how dare this Jyotishi say such words? I, as the mother of those two daughters, will be 100% equal. That's what she thought. But in next 5, 6 years, two daughters were born, and somehow, before the daughters crossed the age of 5, very clearly she found herself favoring the second daughter more. Somehow, what you call chemistry, you know, was such. So, Sri Krishna seems to have a certain favoring disposition towards these Saguna Upasakas. Now, you may ask me, you are making a critical comment on Sri Krishna? Are you seeing Sri Krishna to be partial? No, no, no. I am not saying he is partial. If he is saying Saguna Bhaktaha, Saguna Upasakaha, Yuktatamaha are best united, it's not out of any personal or his own attachment. He sees that in in those times, end of Dwapara Yuga, uh, and for us now in this Kali Yuga, for large number of people, it is Saguna Bhakti that works better. Whatever works better is the best. You get a some kind of electronic equipment, very expensive with hundreds of features, but you bring home, you don't even know how to turn it on. And with great difficulty, you turn it on, and then you don't know how to do the settings. You get such a headache. It will ask you, you want this way or you want that way? You want this way, you want that way. You get, you rather go and buy a simple, electronic equipment, mobile or something, which, as they say, fatafat, within 2 minutes is activated and you are on the go. All essential features are working. You don't want so many other kinds of fine tuning. Therefore, it's like that. Bhakti works better. Sri Ramakrishna also, in the loudest voice, said, in Kali Yuga, this Dehatma Buddhi is too strong. Even very learned scholars of Upanishads, would be very attached to their body. There was a great Vedanta scholar in Allahabad, what is renamed as Prayag in Uttar Pradesh. And he went to a dentist. And the dentist happened to have heard so many lectures of this Vedanta scholar, this Shastriji. But the Shastriji lay on the dental chair for some, procedure to be done. The Shastriji, almost with tears in his eyes, said to the dentist, "Please give enough anesthesia. I don't want to go through any pain." And the dentist said to the Shastriji, "Shastriji, I have heard so many of your lectures on Upanishads. You speak so well, and you often said, 'We are not the body, we are not the body.' Drop this idea that I am the body. But today you are so concerned about some pain that may come up." And Shastriji said, "Please, for heaven's sake, forget that I am a Vedanta scholar whose lectures you heard. Please ensure there is no pain anywhere. Give me anesthesia in good quantity." So, Ramakrishna had predicted it. In this Kali Yuga, Dehatma Buddhi, and he called it, in the English translation of the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, it is called creature comforts. In Kali Yuga, people are attached to creature comforts. Creature comforts, I know a whole lot of things about food and sleep and various forms of entertainment and so on. So therefore, Sri Krishna says in this Kali Yuga, we are adding that expression, Saguna Bhakti works very well. It takes care of many of your problems because holding on to that concept of I belong to God. All I do today will be for God. God be pleased with what I do. And I don't want my ego to come in the way. So Ishvara Samarpana Buddhi. Therefore, Sri Krishna himself has described it here. He says, Mai Aveshya Manaha. The prose order is Mai Manaha Aveshya. Mai Manaha Aveshya. That is the syntax in Indian languages. So, Mai Manaha Aveshya. The verb comes last. The object of the verb comes before it. In English language, the object of the verb comes last. Bring me a glass of water. Glass of water, object of the verb bring comes later. You can't say in English, glass of water, bring please. Water, glass of... A plate, bring please. That's not the syntax. Bring a plate. But in all Indian languages, you put the object first. Like if I may give the example of Hindi, you say, ek glass pani lavo. Lavo comes later. So that's what we call syntax. And within the word, certain structural aspects are called semantics. So syntax and semantics are a matter of interest to scholars of linguistics. Somebody like R.L. Kashyap, who was a very senior professor in Purdue University and also held some positions in some other universities in the United States, begin with electrical engineering, then computer science, and so many. R.L. Kashyap was a big name in the academics of United States. So many people did PhD under him. He published so many papers in those subjects of engineering and science. But at the end of it all, this man, Professor R.L. Kashyap, wound up everything in United States. Last 20 years of his life, about 20 I guess, he settled in Jayanagar, Bengaluru, and started an institution because his heart longed for Vedic scholarship. So he started an organization called Sakshi, S-A-K-S-I, Sakshi, Sri Aurobindo Kapali Shastri Indological Institute. or you just institute Sakshi. If somebody is interested, go to the website. It's not Sakshi in the website. In the website, the URL is vedah.com. VEDAH. Vedah.com. He did tremendous service to Vedas. And why I raised it is, he has written books on the semantics of Vedic words. Couple of books I tried to read. I tried to read a couple of books by him. So far, I could not do well in that. A little bit went above my head, some technicalities. But R.L. Kashyap, Professor Kashyap, he was awarded, I think, Padma Shri or Padma Bhushan, Padma Shri probably, a few months before he died. So if any of you go to Bengaluru, it's worth visiting that center, Sakshi, which is running even now. He himself gave lectures. And interestingly, he was not so much into Vedanta. A little bit, yes, he gave talks on Upanishads also. But he was so interested, heavily interested, inspired by not Veda Anta, but Veda Purva. Veda Purva. So on Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, Atharva Veda. He published so many works. Amazing person. Amazing, very dynamic person. So syntax and semantics of Vedic terms was of special interest to him. So Maya Aveshya Manaha is poetic syntax, but in prose, Mai Manaha Aveshya. Ye Mam Nitya Utta. Aveshya means fixing. Wish is to enter. Wish. To make it enter. Make your mind enter God with all rounded devotion. Nitya Yuktaha. Ever connected, ever united, day and night. Get into it. Don't underestimate the effort required to change yourself. Like I must have said long back, this Sri Kumar Rao wrote a nice article once. Somebody, I believe, wanted to become an ace tennis player, world ranked. Roger Federer and all those, stalwarts were his role model. He often said, "My goal is to become an excellent tennis player, international ranking." Then somebody asked him, "Okay, so what are you doing about it?" "Yeah, I'm very regular and I'm practicing." How much?" "Every Saturday morning, 2 hours I practice," he said. To become an internationally ranked tennis player, all you do is 2 hours on a Saturday morning. On a Saturday morning. That won't make you a good player even in your town. But see the underestimation. His desire is to become a world ranked tennis player, but his practice is once a week for 2 hours. That way, you want liberation, you want moksha, you want Ishvara Darshana. And don't say every Thursday evening we attend a Vedanta class at such and such part, or these days online. I see 2 lectures at least. Nowadays, wherever we go, before even people complete their sentence, I know what they're saying. I hear Swami Sarvapriyananda's lecture online. Yesterday, someone who spoke to me 1 hour on NRI, he also said. And then he went further to say, before even Swami Sarvapriyananda became famous, I heard some of his lectures and was excited. I invited him to my home in Georgia. And those days he was not so busy. Came gladly, he came, spent 3 days with us at my home. He said very proudly. So it's nice if you hear online lectures of some wonderful speakers like Swami Sarvapriyananda is, but double check. Not just quantity, but the quality. Not just the quantity and quality of your involvement in spiritual practice, but I would rather say with my own experience, Also double check the quantity and quality of your withdrawal from mere pleasure-driven activities, mere power-driven, fame, name-driven activities, money-driven activities. Have you, in quality and quantity, reduced your engagement with money and pleasure and so on? There are many so-called spiritual seekers who, yes, who are doing a lot of spiritual practices, but they don't want to miss a certain movie, much talked about movie, which is getting released next week. They want to be among the first to go and watch that movie. They don't want to miss visiting a certain restaurant. They don't want to miss watching nowadays. That also has gone online, right? On online, they want to watch this, watch that, and it's up to you. I need not give more examples. Find out what are your weaknesses, what are your addictions, what are those areas where you do much more than what is optimum, what is reasonable, but you go out of your way to get that particular pleasure, that particular enjoyment. We got to quality and quantity, reduce it. Then, as earlier the word came, nivratta eshanaha. So, in this verse, the word used is nitya yuktaha upasate. Your aspiration and the way you live your day, your daily life, have to match. So, work towards it. Begin with what is possible. The golden rule is don't feel, desperate. Don't say, Siddhanandji today scared us. He made our morale go down. And he does not know of difficulties we have. I want to do more sadhana, but my wife doesn't allow, or my husband comes in the way. But what does he know? These swamis, they talk from an ivory tower. I have a hard time making even a little improvement in my personal spiritual life, you may say. I'm not trying to discourage anybody or depress anybody, but I will not believe, I would not believe if you say no change is possible. There are always little changes which are possible, which are in your hands to do. Do what is possible. The golden rule is if you do what is possible for the next 7 days, for example, something which was impossible, which seemed or which looked impossible before, would rise as a wonderful possibility. Creative ideas. Creative ideas in outer enterprises as well as inner spiritual journey are a wonderful thing to have. When you have a creative idea, you will find doors open. Doors that seem to have been shut forever, open and you walk further. Shraddhaya paraya upeta. Upeta means endowed with. Upa plus ita. Upeta. Endowed with deep faith, Shraddha. They are better united, better connected, better placed. They have much higher chance of moving fast towards the goal. So, Mai Vishwarupe Parameshware Aveshya Samadhaya Manaha. So, Vishwarupe Parameshware Aveshya. Shankaracharya keeps in mind the context. This verse is coming soon after the 11th chapter where Vishwarupa was shown. Sarva Yogeshwaranam Adishwaram Sarvajnam. When these Saguna Upasakas meditate on me, what's my nature? I am the ruling Lord of all Yogeshwaras. There are so many people, so many deities, so many Devata forms which are also way high in yoga. I am on top of them. And do I have the least trace of selfishness in me? No way. Vimukta raga di klesha timira drishtim. That's also adjective to himself, Sri Krishna himself. He is completely free from any attachment, any partiality, any particular preference. He loves all. Raga, klesha, waves of sorrow or some regret, timira drishti, distorted vision. No? And if Nitya Yukta, devotees ever engaged, meditate on me, Atita Anantara Adhyayante Ukta Shlokartha Nyayena. So if they meditate on me, the way previous shlokas in the previous chapter, Atita previous, and Anantara without a gap. That means reference is to 11th chapter. Atita elsewhere can mean beyond also. Kala Atita, Desha Atita, transcendental meditation, Atita Dhyana. So Atita somewhere can mean beyond, but here it means bygone, whatever has already gone by. Satayuktaha santaha upasate shraddaya paraya prakrishtaya upetaha te me mama yuktatamaha abhimataha. They are very well connected. Nairantaryena hi te machittataya ahoratrani ativahayanti. Nairantaryena, nirantar rupena. Nirantara means without a gap. Day in and day out, wherever they get a chance. Where will they find time? They will find time. They will make time. A very busy businessman in Bengaluru wrote number of books. I think so far he has written some 25 books. I once asked him, that time he had 6 volumes he had brought out. Inspirational stories. Every day he used to write an article for a well-known Kannada newspaper called Vijay Karnataka. I asked him, Mr. Shadakshari, where do you find time to write these articles? You are a very busy man with a lot of social connections and your business is very time consuming. Where do you find time? He gave a witty answer. Swamiji, I don't find time, but time finds me. He was known for such witty statements. I said, oh, okay, time finds you. And then after that, many years have passed. Recently, when I visited him, he presented me, I guess, was it 21st issue? 21st volume of inspirational stories. So, he requires divine grace. And divine grace is upon you, to get which you have to do your 2 cents. I'm never tired of quoting. You put 1 step towards God and then He puts 10 steps towards you. If you want Bhagavad Anugraha, just do a little of what is possible at your hands. Then, Nairantaryena Ahoratrani Ativahayanti. They invoke, they Ativahana, what you call Avahana. In Puja, we call it Avahana. You invite God, come and take your seat. Enter this idol which I am worshipping, we say. And at the end of the puja, some of you know, we pray God, please leave the statue, leave the idol and go. Udvahana, Udvasana, another verbal root is used. Udvasana. Atah yuktam tan prati yuktatama iti vaktum. Therefore, yuktam, it is appropriate to call them more or better connected. For, as we said before, in bhakti, it is much easier. In next class, we will see what makes bhakti easier. We will also talk about the 2 illustrations given for Bhakti Marga and Jnana Marga. Jnana Marga is supposed to be Markata Kishoranyaya and Bhakti Marga is Marjala Kishoranyaya. The mother of a baby cat picks up the baby and takes the baby from place to place. Whereas in the case of Markata monkeys, the mother of the baby monkey also is very loving, but the baby monkey has to hold on to the mother, and then the mother jumps from one branch to another. And baby monkey has to hold tightly. In the case of baby cat, kitten, the mother picks up the baby and takes. So in Bhakti Marga, it is as though God takes full care of you. Just be steady in your love of God. Rest of it, He takes. In Jnana Marga, it is a bit hard. Both are hard actually. Sri Krishna says, Kleshaha adhikataraha. In the fifth or fourth shloka, he says, the fifth shloka, right? Hard, hardship. Hardship is more in Jnana Marga. In spite of it, many of us are drawn to it. Sanskar, Purva Sanskar. We'll talk about that also. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.